This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. You don't have to make an appointment for this show. Walk-ins are always welcome. Yeah? Tonight, as a record number of people come to the US border to immigrate or seek asylum, we follow the path of one man making the journey from El Salvador and why he left his home. Then NFTs are all the rage, so we should probably figure out exactly how this digital art for sale works, right? But first, here's what you need to know right now. With almost 1 in 5 Americans now fully vaccinated, President Biden is moving up the target date to make all adults eligible for a COVID-19 vaccine nationwide. It's now April 19th. It was originally set for May 1st. More than 35 states have already started issuing the Pfizer vaccine to anyone 16 and older. That's a noteworthy move since right now, some states like Michigan are seeing more cases of COVID variants in younger adults who end up needing hospitalization. In other virus news, if you're still wiping down your counters obsessively, turns out that might not be warranted. The CDC says the chance of you getting COVID from a surface as opposed to through the air is 1 in 10,000. Frequently sanitizing surfaces is only recommended in indoor settings where there was a suspected or confirmed COVID case in the last 24 hours. A hearing today for a potential witness in the Derek Chauvin trial. The defense wants to question Maurice Hall, the man who was with George Floyd on the day he died. They hope to ask him about drugs, exchanging counterfeit bills, and Floyd's demeanor that day. But Hall doesn't want to take the stand, and he's invoking the Fifth Amendment out of concern he'd incriminate himself. The judge is still weighing whether or not to force Hall to testify about what he saw the day Floyd was killed. As for who did take the stand today, the use of force instructor and the crisis trainer for the Minneapolis Police Department.
The policy requires that when it's safe and feasible, that we shall de-escalate.
What is proportional force?
Well, you want to use the least amount of force necessary to meet your objectives, to control.
On Monday, the city's police chief testified that Chauvin did violate the department's de-escalation policy, adding to the prosecution's argument of unreasonable force. The trial is expected to last nearly a month. Chauvin faces 3 charges in the death of Floyd.
Government should not require any Texan to show proof of vaccination and reveal private health information just to go about their daily lives.
The governor of Texas is taking a firm stance against the idea of vaccine passports. He issued an executive order banning them from becoming a requirement in the state. The governor of Florida plans to do the same. Meanwhile, we showed you how New York began using them on Monday through a voluntary app. It's an issue currently being debated across the country and the world. Dr. Fauci says it won't become a federal law anytime soon in the US, but some businesses could choose to require them. Keep in mind, the basic idea of a vaccine passport is really just a record that you have been vaccinated, just like we keep track of whether we've had the flu shot each year. It's how they will be used and whether they will be required for certain activities that's more controversial. Israel has had a green pass in place since May. Residents have to show it to access certain places like theaters or gyms. The UK plans to test out a vaccine passport in the coming weeks, but it will mainly be for traveling abroad. The Biden administration has been working to address the influx of migrants at the US southern border. A part of the discussion about migration has been the factors that prompt people to leave their home countries in the first place and make the dangerous trek north. Newsy's Ben Shamiso introduces us to one man who plans to make that journey from El Salvador, and he tells us why.
Amid record numbers of border crossings, images of migrants being smuggled into Texas have caught the country's attention. Yet the migration crisis facing the Biden administration starts thousands of miles away. In San Salvador, we caught up with a father and husband getting ready for the long and risky trek north.
Estoy pensando en emigrar a Estados Unidos por la situación económica que se está viviendo en el país. El desempleo, la delincuencia.
Last month, the U.S. reportedly apprehended 171,000 migrants at the southern border, a 15-year high. And while the steep rise of unaccompanied children and families posed the greatest challenge, the surge is also driven by men traveling alone.
Si yo llegara a emprender el viaje, lo haría yo solo, por el peligro que se corre, según me han contado los amigos que están allá.
Daniel Umana says he wants to go north alone and then figure out a way for his wife and kids to join him later. But first, he needs to borrow $13,000 to pay for a smuggler. That would buy him 3 attempts to cross into the US, half of it up front, the other half when he's made it.
Lo que le incluye son la alimentación, los lugares donde usted va a dormir y le da 3 intentos. Si en el primer intento lo agarra, tiene 2 más.
Umana has friends who just made it to the US illegally and all found jobs right away. But he didn't consider leaving El Salvador until recently. He's been struggling to make ends meet as an Uber driver during the pandemic, and his wife recently lost the cashier job she held for 6 years.
Cuando vino la pandemia y la despidieron, solo me quedé yo trabajando, ya no nos alcanzaba lo suficiente.
El Salvador's sky-high homicide rate has sharply decreased in the past couple years, but the country remains plagued by endemic poverty, corruption, and gang violence.
Yo no quiero que mis hijos pasen lo que yo pasé, o sea, rodeado de pandillas. Ya la mayoría de salvadoreños lo que hacen es llegar hasta bachillerato y de ahí buscar un empleo en una maquila.
Umana says he didn't want to make the trip in recent years because he heard the Trump administration treated migrants with cruelty. But now he's hopeful he will make it through thanks to new Biden administration policies he perceives as friendlier.
Cuando llegó el nuevo presidente se vio como que iba a ser más aceptable. No hay mucho racismo en el migrante como lo tenía el presidente Donald Trump. Entonces se miraba un poco favorable poder inmigrar.
Ben Chamizo, Newsy.
The MLB baseball season is already off to an interesting start. The MLB All-Star Game could be headed in a very different direction, like Mountain West. Here's what's trending. There ain't no crying in baseball, but there's plenty of drama. The MLB will reportedly take its best talent to Denver, Colorado, after pulling the All-Star Game out of Atlanta, Georgia, over an objection to Georgia's new voter laws. In response to pulling out of Atlanta, some GOP politicians took a few swings at the MLB for being woke and undermining election integrity laws. Texas Governor Greg Abbott declined to throw out the first pitch for the Texas Rangers, claiming the MLB is perpetuating false political narratives. The new voting laws in Georgia that led to the MLB to pull out of Atlanta have been described as restrictive because they shrink the window of mail-in voting, implement new voting ID requirements, and ban handing out food or water within 150 feet of a polling place. Lawmakers in more than 40 states are pursuing similar voting laws. LeVar Burton's name has been floating around the interwebs after fans of his started a petition to make him the next host of Jeopardy! And by the looks of it, he's game. The long-running game show has had a number of guest hosts since the passing of Alex Trebek last November. They include Aaron Rodgers, Dr. Oz, Katie Couric, and Ken Jennings. Not to publicly endorse him, but on this show, we stand LeVar Burton. The man has had a decades-long television career that started in the 70s and includes TV shows like Roots, Reading Rainbow, a personal fave of Baby Christian, and Star Trek The Next Generation, to name a few. There's a lot of weirdo energy out there cheering for LeVar Burton, so let's just hope that if he does get the gig, contestants won't trip over meeting him in person.
I never wanted to meet LeVar in person! I just wanted a picture! You can't disappoint a picture!
Giving people their flowers while they're still here is really hitting home this week for DMX fans. The rapper, whose real name is Earl Simmons, was hospitalized after he suffered a heart attack Friday.
I need everybody to put up your X.
Family, friends, and fans of DMX have held prayer vigils and celebrated his legacy outside the White Plains, New York hospital where he's being treated. There was also an outpouring of support online from other celebrities and musicians hoping for the rapper to pull through. According to his family, he's still facing serious health issues. DMX first came on the scene in the 90s with an energetic and gritty style of lyricism. On a personal note, this song right here, the edited version, might have been the first time I heard myself attempt a growl and bark combination. DMX has sold millions of records over his career and, according to the New York Times, was the first musician to have his first 4 albums debut at #1 on the Billboard chart. NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, are the latest internet term just absolutely confusing us, or me. Think of it like a digital collectible with unique metadata that differentiates it from another. It's a new way to make and sell art using cryptocurrency. Here to talk about this modern way to curate, we wanted to bring in our own masterpiece, Newsy's Cody LeGros. Why do I read these intros for you? Really?
Sweetie, because you know I'm a full-on Monet, okay? From far away, I'm okay. From up close, it's a big old mess.
Cody, just tell me what I need to know about NFTs. What is going on here?
Perfect, I know. So NFTs are kind of taking over the internet as of late. So I hopped on TikTok. That's what I do, Christian. I found a crypto investor named MACK, LORDEN, and we answered the age-old question, what is art and what qualifies as an NFT?
And it can be anything. It can be a picture. It can be a GIF. It can be a meme. It can be a tweet. It can be a sound or some music that you make. You know what I mean? It doesn't take any coding. Fungibility just means mutually interchangeable. So it may help if you think of an NFT as something that can't easily be traded for something else. So like a holographic Charizard Pokemon card. Or a diamond, since each one is unique.
So Christian, I know it's a concept that's very easy to kind of roll your eyes at. It kind of seems like people might be selling memes for millions of dollars. Like Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, for example, he made his first tweet an NFT and it sold for more than $2.9 million.
So this can have real implications for cryptocurrency?
Absolutely. So I did reach out to our TikTok teacher, MACK, LORDEN, to kind of unpack NFT's impact on the cryptocurrency space.
What I think is really cool is that it's kind of like a democratization of artists and the art availability in the world. Because if I'm an artist and I want to sell some art, if I can put this on a much more global stage that's accessible via the internet, now I can sell it to, a much broader audience.
What kind of implications does it have with just investing and access to investing?
NFTs are a big play in the crypto space right now. There's no limit to the amount of implications and applications that you can have. The annoying thing is that when people see things selling for egregious amounts of money, for millions of dollars, but it's just something that they bought and sold on their phone, they think, oh, well, I could just take a screenshot of it. The thing is that those aren't true art buyers because they don't understand the mindset of it. You can look up the Mona Lisa on Google Images on your phone too, but that doesn't mean you own the Mona Lisa.
So speaking of the Mona Lisa and, the potential for some art and money to be made, Christian, how much do you think we can get for this in the NFT world? I'm still trying to get the Louvre interested. I haven't heard back.
We're gonna have to pay them to display this somewhere. That's the only way that's gonna work.
I might be a Picasso in the making. You just don't know. You don't know.
That truer words have never been spoken. Cody LeGros, thanks so much for helping clarify NFTs. You can purchase this conversation as an NFT if you'd like.
You could. Honestly, you could. At this rate, we could make it one. That's how crazy it's getting.
Okay, I would actually offer up that conversation as an NFT, but one service said I needed an Ethereum wallet, and we didn't go over that, so. Stress and weight gain are two things many people have experienced during the pandemic. I transformed from Christian to thick Christian, and yeah, I'm a little stressed about it. A new study shows those things are linked. National reporter Bo Evans tells us as virus rates fall, more people are trying to reduce their stress and the number on the scale.
During the beginning, I had to start working out outside because the gyms and things like that were closed. So I made do with what I could. My name is Marcus Rogers, and I'm a new person. I just moved to Denver.
Each time a weight clinks or someone breathes deep, it's the sound of someone like Marcus releasing a little bit of stress. But many of us haven't been able to release that stress during the COVID-19 pandemic, and that may have caused us to be a little heavier when we step on the scale.
The more stress that people were experiencing, the more weight they were gaining.
Dr. Arthur Evans is the CEO of the American Psychological Association. The APA has been looking at the impacts of stress and weight gain during the pandemic.
Americans are gaining weight at a pretty significant level, about 15 pounds.
42% of people surveyed by the APA gained more weight than they intended. In that group, people gained 29 pounds on average. 15 to 30 pounds is no small matter. We asked Cami Woomer, a nutritionist with the YMCA Metro Denver, about the relationship between stress and weight gain.
Stress can be an indicator of, weight gain itself. So when people are feeling stressed out, sometimes we go to food. Sometimes that means that we're eating more in portions or we're eating more throughout the day. Also, stress levels impact our ability to lose weight as well.
Cortisol is the body's main stress hormone, and several scientific studies have linked cortisol levels to changes in weight. Higher levels of cortisol are also linked to people being less likely to control how much and what they eat. But not everyone's stress has risen the same over the course of the last year.
People who are essential workers had more stress than other people. Parents whose children were doing remote learning were also experiencing more stress. We also found that people of color were experiencing more stress, and younger people were experiencing more stress than older people.
While that extra stress can lead to weight gain, a healthier lifestyle can help reduce your stress levels.
Exercise, it's releasing those endorphins, you're feeling a little bit better.
Exercise can also release muscle tension and help regulate cortisol levels. Certain foods can also have an effect on you.
Things like caffeine, things that are high in carbohydrates, high in fat, high sodium things can kind of aggravate the stress levels in our bodies a little bit. And things like whole foods, like whole grains, fruits and vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats can help to reduce inflammation and stress in our body.
Stress can be the source of some of your weight gain, but losing a little bit and eating a little better could be your roadmap to pushing out some of the stress in your life. I'm Bo Evans reporting.
If you haven't done so already, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter using the hashtag NewsyInTheLoop. Show your appreciation by letting me know how glad you are that I didn't include my own workout videos after that last story. Bats have had kind of a weird year. Yes, these winged creatures are kind of scary looking and have been a main culprit in the spread of COVID-19, but they are still an important part of ecologies around the world. Now, researchers are working to rehab both their image globally and the bats themselves.
When the sun sets, most of us get ready to call it a day. But for bats, the day has only just begun.
Bats are nature's absolute best pest controller for nighttime pests.
That is Barry Genslinger. He's been rehabbing bats for about a decade. He understands why not everyone loves these mammals.
When you're out in an area where there are lots of bats, they come out of nowhere.
COVID-19 has not done the image of bats any favors. The origin of the virus is not confirmed, but some studies indicate it originated from similar viruses found in bats in the Eastern Hemisphere.
Hollywood has convinced us ever since there were videos that bats are scary, evil, they attack humans.
Barry's goal these days is to keep bats from catching COVID. Every single bat he rehabilitated this winter got a nose swab, just like us humans. Those swabs are sent here to Tufts University. So far, none of Barry's bats have contracted the virus. The concern, though, is that if one bat has COVID, it could infect an entire colony and increase the likelihood of different variants spreading around.
It's not so much that people in North America are concerned about getting COVID from our bats. It's the other way around.
In an effort to rehab the image of bats during this pandemic, scientists like Sarah STREW have been hosting a series of online clinics. The goal is to remind folks and educate them about the good bats do for the environment.
There just had been so much I think, misinformation at the beginning of everything.
There are 1,300 bat species worldwide, 47 of them in the United States. Many species, though, are considered endangered because of disease, hunting, or their habitat has been destroyed.
Bats really are across the world. Populations are kind of coming to, it's kind of a crisis in many places.
So far, evidence suggests that the risk is low. Scientists could pass coronavirus to North American bats. But still, they aren't taking any chances.
The biggest takeaway, I think, is realizing that we as humans are not separate from the natural world.
All in an effort to keep the sun from setting on this nation's population of bats. I'm Chris Conti.
That's it for us, gang. As always, thanks for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with more In the Loop. Same time, same place. Top stories from Newsy are headed your way right now.